Yeah, two arrests made, and this is by Essex Police. Of course, the RAF, once that plane had landed at Stansted, handed over responsibility to the police authorities at the airport. Now, we understand that those two men on that plane have been arrested on suspicion of endangerment of an aircraft. That is the report. Now, separately, the suggestion I've been given, and this has not been confirmed, is that there were threats on board by an individual or two individuals, and that threat included a suggestion that they had some sort of weapon on board, a bomb on board. That hasn't been confirmed, but clearly that kind of threat would have alerted those Typhoons who got a call, an emergency call from that flight. And as I understand, the operation was, as far as the RAF concerned, and remember these two Typhoons would have been armed with air-to-air missiles, both short-range and medium-range air-to-air missiles, exactly for this kind of, threat. And that the plane landed, the passenger plane carrying 300+ passengers, on its way from Lahore to Manchester, diverted to Stansted, because Stansted is the airport that's nominated to deal with bomb threats, hijack threats, along with Prestwick, but that those RAF planes left the situation at about 2:25.
You mentioned in the middle of that answer that the jets are armed. Just remind us, we use that phrase, they're there to escort this plane. What are the rules of engagement, if I can phrase it that way? Yeah,
I mean, it's very difficult to get specifics on this, because I think if you remember that during the Olympics there was an air exclusion zone, and exactly who orders, if necessary, a plane of any kind to be shot down, it has to go pretty much to the top. It's the Prime Minister, maybe the Home Secretary, it's a handful of people essentially, and clearance has to be given. I mean, we didn't reach that situation here, and as I understand, the RAF pilot on board, or the pilots on board those Typhoons, were confident the situation was okay when they left the plane.
And who are they communicating with? Because it was interesting talking to that expert a short while ago, who was just describing to us the jets get so close that eye-to-eye contact can be made from the RAF fighter jet pilot to the passenger jet pilot. It is that close.
It can be that close, and I mean, I would assume that if those RAF pilots on board were satisfied the situation was okay after they escorted that plane towards Stansted and allowed it to land, that there was, certainly plenty of radio contact with the pilots of the passenger jet, but also probably eye contact, whether they could see on board the passenger jet beyond the cockpit, I think is speculation. But yes, they would have had close contact with the cockpit, and of course we don't know whether these threats where they were made, but nowadays, since 9/11, the cockpit is a closed environment. It's not as if people can wander into that cockpit.